Good evening and welcome to yet another episode of Beating COVID-19. And today we are going to ask the simple question after covering a week of lockdowns. How do we know when we should ease the lockdown? Today's episode is coming very late. We had a major power outage which reduced and stopped production for a while. Now, I have my notes. I want to thank you all this week for standing with this channel and keeping it alive. Thank you for your likes and views. And I continue to believe we're going to beat COVID-19 if we do things the right way. So, today we're going to talk about 3 different strategies to gauge how you know that you should turn off or ease your COVID-19 lockdowns. Number 1. And this is used in Kenya, by the way, the first one. Understanding R0, or the reproductive rate of the virus. Now, R0 is important because COVID-19 has an R0 of between 2 and 2.5. This is based on the Wuhan sample, the one that the statistics that came from China when they were locking down their own COVID pandemic when it started. Now, an RO of 2.5 means for every person infected, I end up infecting between 2 and 3 people. So if 1 million people are infected, then 3 million people are likely to be infected by that million which is infected. So in total, that'll be 4 million people. So you can see the potential for the virus to spread, because if one person can conduct it to 2 or 3 people, those 2 or 3 people can conduct it to 2 or 3 more people, and that is what is known as community spread. I mean, it spreads like wildfire. Now, in Kenya, we are using the RO method to check whether we can ease our lockdowns, because we are saying to ourselves that if we can bring our infection rate down to a manageable level such that it is less than 1, so you have an RO of 0.8, or 1, because that means for every 1 person infected, 1 person is infected by that one, then it's 1 for 1. So if you can bring it to less than 1, which means the infected person has little chance of infecting another, then we will have, like what they said, flatten the curve, and we'll begin to see the downward trend of the virus. This is a cautious method. It is advocated a lot by WHO. It includes contact tracing, isolation, and all that stuff we are seeing. So definitely, this is one method that is in use in the world. As I've said, there is no perfect lockdown situation. There are success stories in each lockdown. Same case, those who have used RO, there are some successful stories of ROs who have come out of lockdown into either COVID-free or COVID on decline country. The second one is, I call it the demographic of survival. For most people, it is known as herd immunity, whereby you get a certain load of people infected and survived the virus to the point that the number of people who have recovered from the virus is in large part more than half the population of the people who aren't. Therefore, they provide a natural barrier to reinfect others. So as infected people come into contact with another person, there's a more than 50% likelihood chance they'll meet a previously infected person with antibodies who will fight off the infection, and there will be no spread. So that is the herd immunity concept. It was tried, it was mentioned, it was proposed, especially in the UK, but I think the community spread had already reached and it was too late to implement. The third option, which is a very interesting option, I shared this option in March. So I'm very happy to see empirical results from it. And it's called the hammer and the dance. And it talks about an aggressive attack on the coronavirus by locking down the economy. And once it is curbed, you replace, let me read the definition. Aggressively attack the coronavirus by lockdown, and once it is curbed, replace aggressive lockdown with cheap, intelligent measures to control infections. This was written by a wonderful gentleman by the name of Thomas Pueyo. He posted the first interesting story on it, talking about what the leaders in the world should do about COVID-19, and it was a good article endorsed by many scientists at that time. In March, I think it was in March, and he introduced the statement, the hammer and the dance. So the hammer being you aggressive attack, and the dance means we, after that is done, we are now able to play within the field. And the statistics on this particular approach have been very successful, because very many countries which are now out of COVID-19 applied the hammer and the dance, and they are out of it. I know there's a problem with people saying that there is a spike in infections, but unfortunately, a spike of 10 is different than a spike of 1,000. It's relative. There is a spike in some places which are based on certain activities that happened, like going to nightclubs in South Korea, and the spike that happened in Sweden, which everybody said, okay, that's the end of Swedish lockdown story. But if you see the latest statistics, you notice that the infection rate in Sweden has gone down. And I will put all the information in this article for you guys to catch up on. I don't want to say much more. I just want to let you guys know that there is a way out of these lockdowns, which is not the standard issue from WHO. Neither is it the other extreme, where WHO is this extreme, where they're saying we should make sure we know that the reproductive rate is below 0. And there is the other option, which is herd immunity, which says let immunity be built organically within the population. It is in the middle. It leans to control the viral spread by being aggressive, reducing the reproductive rate. But instead of clocking down and clamping down, once we are on a downward trend, we switch to a more herd-based approach, whereby we now monitor, work, and build some framework that keeps us in control of infection rates and brings them down accordingly. All the statistics are available in the links for helpful reading attached to these Facebook and YouTube clips. I urge you all to read. Today I was walking around, I've spoken to two groups of people, a team of cooks in a hotel, and also some fellows in a supermarket. And my word for them was, don't be afraid, be informed. Because once you are informed, it shapes your state of mind. It enables you to have a point of view and a statistical background for which you can stand. Don't forget, what they know is what we know. This virus is new to everyone. Therefore, what they know is what we know. The information has been released around the world at the same time. I urge you all to take this opportunity and get ahead of the curve and begin to operate on the mindset of beating COVID-19. I want to thank you all as we come to the end of this week's lockdown stories. I just want to let you know that tomorrow we shall have we'll try and wrap this all up and bring out a good show, and then close the week with something inspirational, something that work to benefit your mental status, give you some hope for tomorrow, and encourage you to live a better life after beating COVID-19. I want to thank you, good night, and see you in the next one.